Hello, Starscream back again for a review, hopefully one that's quite informative and makes some sort of sense. Okay, look, I'm going to do Silverbolt and I'll try and be as succinct as possible because there's a lot of variations of this chap. I've been wanting to do this one for quite a while, I must admit, but I know there's another chap out there who's done one and I didn't want to compete with him, but I thought, well, look, it's worth a shot, innit? So here we go, look. I'll start off with Silverbolt, who is the original G1. Now this is Superion, okay, and I know that comes as no great shock. I didn't want to disassemble him because he's a bit of a sod and I'm worried that he might snap because I've had him for a while and he's a bit loose. So we all know the original colours of Silverbolt, don't we? So that's what he looks like when we Superion. I'll do a review of Superion some other time, but I just wanted to give you the original colour scheme. As you can see, it's white and red, and there's a little bit of gold plating on his arms, as you can see. So that was, and is, the original G1 Silverbolt. Now, they've done a G2 Silverbolt, and it's this garishly horrible blue guy. But I'm going to talk about the character quickly, okay, of the original G1 this is we're going into. Appears in the original Season 2, in the key to Vector Sigma. Now, as I said before in my previous review with Alpha Trion, he sacrifices himself to give life to the aerial bots, which, as I initially said, was a stupid idea because they were dumb. And none so more than him. Now, he's not stupid, and it's not his fault that he was a low-level cargo transport, as he says in the episode. But for some reason, they reassembled him into Concorde. Now, irony is not the right word. Unlucky probably springs to mind, because if he's a low-level cargo transport, yeah, I got there in the end. Concorde probably wouldn't be the best alt mode for him, would it? And the poor chap in it has a real problem dealing with it in the episodes. He has a real hard time because he doesn't want to take off more than, I don't know, he says a couple of feet off the ground, which is quite difficult as a jet. So Optimus Prime puts him in overall command of the aerial bots to take his mind off it, which is probably just as well. Because, let's face it, the other aerobots, they ain't no Einsteins, are they? Out of all of them, he has possibly the most intelligence. And he is the Gearstalk leader, so it went without saying he was going to be in command of them. So, that was the G1 synopsis of him. He appears in the comics to quite an extent. That's quite interesting what goes through that. But I'm trying not to delve too much into the comics because there's a lot more going on. He does appear in the Generation 2 comics, but he's a background character and he appears in the original colours, which is just as well, because that's bleeding horrible. Alright, we've established the G1 character. He continues through. They sort of like vanish all background characters in Season 3. It's just not really a lot more done, but they do have a good standing in the Season 2 cartoons, and I always like Silverbolt. It's quite a nice character. Now, we come to the Beast Wars time. And here we have Beast Wars Silverbolt. A completely different character all round. He's in one of the pods that when the Autobot ship is crashing, they eject a lot of the Autobot sparks, and he is one of them. Now, when they start randomly landing, because obviously the actual stasis pod things they're in start to decay and come out of orbit. Now, he's in one of them. And he crash lands to Earth, and when the actual scanner system is scanning, it malfunctions slightly and scans two animals, as it were, at once. Now, if I'm not mistaken, he's either an eagle or a hawk and a dog. And they come to be known as Fusors. And the other one is Quick Strike, who kept threatening that he'll have a one-on-one match with him eventually to sort out who's the best. It never actually transpires into that properly. And we end up with Silverbolt here. I'm not sure if when they initially done it, they were using it for the same characterization, or they mentioned it to be the predecessor to the other Silverbolt, who hadn't been created because Alpha Trion didn't even know he was going to go and do it yet, but it's already been done type scenario. I don't want to go there because my head hurts. We have Silverbolt. He's brilliant. He reminds you of one of the Knights of the Round Table. He's chivalrous to the point of unbelievable stupidity. But he never backs down from a fright. Fright? Fright? Yeah, I get frightened by how stupid I am. Fight. He never backs down from a fight. and whatever he says, he backs it up. He's not just playing with words. He's slow to anger, and he can really control himself. And his diction's superb. I'm assuming they're modelling him, as I said, on one of the knights or somebody of an English character, but he's brilliant. And unfortunately, his weakest flaw is Black Arachnia, who happens to be a Predacon. But he brings her around to the crumbs. They're not Autobots, are they? Oh, whatever they are, you know what I mean. Maximal. There we go. He brings her around to the Maximal side because she was initially a Maximal protoform. She just gets pissed around with by I won't remember his name later on. One of the Tripedicus Council, if I recall. Tarantulas. There we go. But this guy is brilliant. He's so chivalrous and noble. He'd sacrifice himself for a second for his fellow Autobots. He has various nicknames like Bird Dog and stuff like that, which I think, or Jojo and Bowser Boy. I think that's quite nice. I think his Rat Trap calls him Bird Dog. It's a good episode in it where he comes face to face with a protoform which has no transformation, and it's called Transmutate. And him and now what's his face? I'm very good with my memory today. I think it's going in my old age. It's not quite nice, is it? He has somewhat of a camaraderie with the Predacon Transformer, in the fact that they both feel some way enabled to it. Now, what is his name? If I have a look over here and have a look at him, and I can't find him, that's rubbish. I really can't remember his... Rampage. Yeah, well, he has something in common with Rampage for that particular episode. I'm sorry about my... I went black instead of green then, didn't I? Never mind, that's pretty good. Okay, that was going somewhere, the explanation I was giving to you, but that's probably a sideline for him. It bears no relevance to his particular character. I was just mentioning the fact he's had some sort of camaraderie going with a Predacon there for the time. Now we come to Beast Machines. Now when they crash after Beast Wars, a lot of the sparks are removed from the bodies are discarded, and Megatron sees fit to take a few of the sparks and change them slightly to put in some of his drone army to make them quicker to respond than just the average drone robot. And unfortunately, Silverbolt is one of them. He gets put into the form of Jetstorm. Now initially they think it's Thrust, but inevitably turns out to be Wasbinator, and eventually they find out that it's Jetstorm. And a lot of toing and furring, and eventually Black Arachnia manages to bring him around for a short time, but unfortunately Jetstorm's initial subsidiary program done by Megatron begins to take over. But eventually they do recover him, and this is the toy it ends up being. And I'm sorry to say, it's quite absolutely and atrociously hideous. It's disgusting considering the character that they had. That is horrible. I'm not even going to bother going into detail of that because it's a horrible toy. He is a lovely toy, the Beast Wars one. He fires, well, I don't know what they look like, batons, don't they? But he fires them out of his wings, and he has a very nice transformation, which I'm not going to attempt to do. All I can say is do look out, and there's two variations of him. There's the American one and the Japanese one, and the only difference is one of them slightly creamier looking. Now, if I've got enough time, I'm going to attempt to transform the Generation 1 / Generation 2 Silverbolt for you. It's not a very complicated transformation. As I said, well, we can't take that chest panel off there. That's the superior on anyway, but you can use it on Silverbolt because it looks a lot better. Just fold his arms back down here. Chest panel up. Wings fold down. Rotate him round. Back it up. Rear spoiler thing. Tail up. Fold his legs underneath. Push his feet in. Fold his legs round. Not a lot more to it than that. Okay, it's a lovely transformation, and it looks a lot better when it's in white, as Concorde should be. The only thing that lets it down is all the gubbins that are going on underneath, but I suppose that's to be expected considering it's Transformer and not Concorde. Anyway, it's a brief description of Silverbolt. I'm sorry about my vagueness all of a sudden now. I don't know what went wrong. I think my brain went to sleep. It's come back now, but it's a bit late, isn't it? Anyway, I'll see you all out there. I will do the sludge review next.